صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عن جابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري عن فاطمة الزهراء عليه السلام بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم قال: سمعت فاطمة أنها قالت: دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال: السلام عليك يا فاطمة. فقلت: عليك السلام. قال: إني أجد في بدني ضعفا. فقلت له: إيذك بالله يا أبتاه من الضعف. فقال: يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به. فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به، وسرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلعلأ كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولد الحسن قد أقبل وقال: السلام عليك يا أماه. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال: يا أماه، إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله. فقلت: نعم، إن جدك تحت الكساء. فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء؟ قال: وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب هودي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معه تحت الكساء. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولد الحسين عليه السلام قد أقبل وقال: السلام عليك يا أمه. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال لي: يا أمه، إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله. فقلت: نعم، إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء. فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا جدة، السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء؟ فقال: وعليك السلام يا ولدي وشافي أمتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معهما تحت الكساء. فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال: السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. فقال: يا فاطمة، إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله. فقلت: نعم، ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال: وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وسي وخليفتي وصاحب لوئي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء. ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت: السلام عليك يا أبتا يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال: وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بضعتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل تحت الكساء. فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرفي الكساء وأوميا بيده يمنى إلى السماء وقال: اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وهامتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم، أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن أعداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم إنهم مني وأنا منهم فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم واذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي ويا سكان السماوات إني ما خلقت سماء مبنيا ولا أرضا مدهيا ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئا ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبريل يا ربي ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. فقال جبريل يا ربي أتأذن لي أن أحبط إلى الأرض لأكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله نعم قد أذنت لن. فهبط الأمين جبريل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله. العلي الأعلى يقرئك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنيا ولا أرضا مدهية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله وعليك السلام يا أمين وهلا إنه نعم قد أذنت لن. فدخل جبريل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لي أبي إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. فقال علي لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعاتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعاتنا ومحبينا وفيهم محمومان إلا وفرج الله حما ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غما ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وصعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وصعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة.
برائے خوشنودی محمد و آل محمد بلندتر صلوات صلی علی محمد و آل محمد. سلام کے چند اشعار. افسوس نبی زادیوں کا وہ شام میں جانا، سجاد سے پوچھو. افسوس نبی زادیوں کا وہ شام میں جانا، سجاد سے پوچھو. سر ننگے وہ ماں بہنوں کا دربار میں جانا، سجاد سے پوچھو. چھپتی تھی نبی زادی، نبی زادی کے پیچھے کس شرم و حیا سے. چھپتی تھی نبی زادی، نبی زادی کے پیچھے کس شرم و حیا سے. اور شمر کا ان بیبیوں کے نام بتانا، سجاد سے پوچھو. بیٹھے ہوئے دربار میں سب چھوٹے بڑے تھے، سادات کھڑے تھے. بیٹھے ہوئے دربار میں سب چھوٹے بڑے تھے، سادات کھڑے تھے. اور سر تشت میں رکھا ہوا زینب کو دکھانا، سجاد سے پوچھو. جب دختر شبیر نے زندہ میں قضا کی، آفت کی گھڑی تھی. جب دختر شبیر نے زندہ میں قضا کی، آفت کی گھڑی تھی. وہ ننھی سی میت بندھے ہاتھوں سے اٹھانا، سجاد سے پوچھو. جب غسل سکینہ کو وہاں دے چکی غصہ تھا سب کا برا حال۔ جب غسل سکینہ کو وہاں دے چکی غصہ تھا سب کا برا حال۔ اس ننھی سی میت پہ نشان رسی کے پانا سجاد سے پوچھو افسوس نبی زادیوں کا وہ شام میں جانا سجاد پوچھ۔ جناب سیدہ طیبہ طاہرہ ام ابیہا بلند تر صلوات اللہ صلی علی محمد وآلہ۔
برائے تاجل امام الزمانہ بآواز بلند صلوات اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد۔ آئے خدایا یہ کیسا زمانہ، آئے خدایا یہ کیسا زمانہ، آل نبی کا نہ کوئی ٹھکانہ، آل نبی کا نہ کوئی ٹھکانہ، گلشن زہرا میں مرجا گئے سب پھول، گلشن زہرا میں مرجا گئے سب پھول، خیموں میں ہر سو اٹھتی ہے بس دور، خیموں میں ہر سو اٹھتی ہے بس دور، عاشورہ کی شام کا عالم ہے، پیارے نبی کے گھر برپا ماتم ہے، کٹے بازو عباس کے مشک عزا گر پڑی، کٹے بازو عباس کے مشق ازا گر پڑی قاسم کے ہاتھوں پہ لہو رچایا گیا ہے قاسم کے ہاتھوں پہ لہو رچایا گیا ہے عاشورہ کی شام کا عالم ہے پیارے نبی کے گھر برپا ماتم ہے شام کے بازاروں میں بیردہ سکینہ ہے شام کے بازاروں میں بیردہ سکینہ ہے آئے وہ شام غریبا بے بسی کا عالم ہے آئے وہ شام غریبا بے بسی کا عالم ہے عاشورہ کی شام کا عالم ہے پیارے نبی کے گھر برپا ماتم ہے کٹے بازو عباس کے مشق ازا گر پڑی قاسم کے ہاتھوں پہ لہو رچایا گیا ہے عاشورہ کی شام کا عالم ہے پیارے نبی کے گھر برپا ماتم ہے اور محمد وآل محمد صلوات
بر محمد وآل محمد صلوات کیا چیز ہے کیا چیز ہے دریا کی ترائی عباس کیا چیز ہے دریا کی ترائی عباس لوٹا کے راضی نہیں بھائی عباس ہاں مار کے صبر و رضا طے کر لو مار کے صبر و رضا طے کر لو پھر تو ہے تمہاری ہی خدائی عباس کیا چیز ہے فاتحہ بر محمد و آل محمد صلوات بر محمد و آل محمد صلوات جب آئی شام کی بستی میں ننگ سر زینا جب آئی شام کی بستی میں ننگ سر زینب اسیر و مسترو بیتاب و نوحہ گر زین مو اپنا بالوں سے ڈھانپے ہوٹ پر زینب یہ رو کے کہتی تھی ہر دم بچشم تر زینب بہن حسین کی ہو فاطمہ کی جائے ہو میں کربلائے مولا سے لوٹ کے آئے ہو اجاڑ ماریا میں ہو چمن میرا بچھڑ گیا علی اکبر سا گل بدن میرا ہوا شہید ہر ایک سب شکن میرا پڑا ہے بھائی بیابان میں بے کفن میرا نبی کی آل کو اہل جفا نے لوٹ لیا ہمارے کنبے کو رن میں قضا نے لوٹ لیا یہ بین کرتی تھی شتر پا زینب دل کی قریب اٹھ کے لایا نہیں سر شب پکڑ کے ہاتھوں سے دیکھو تڑپ گئے ہم سے پکاری بھائی بچا لو ہمیں کسی تدبیر تمہارے مرنے سے ایزا اٹھاتی ہے زینب نئی کے سامنے سر ننگے جاتی ہے زینب تمہارے مرنے سے ایزا اٹھاتی ہے زینب نئی کے سامنے سر ننگے جاتی ہے زینب جب آئی شام کی
محمد وآل محمد صلوات.
آواز بلند صلوات. سورہ فاتحہ کی گزارش ہے برادر شرازی مسز شرازی اور ان کی فیملی کے مرحومین کے لیے، جس میں جملہ مومنین و مومنات کو بھی شامل فرمائیں، بالخصوص شہداء ملت جعفریہ کو، اپنے مرحومین کو سورہ فاتحہ. بہت مختصر سے اعلانات. باب العلم بنی ہاشم سعودی کی جانب سے یکم محرم سے انشاءاللہ 7 ربیع الاول تک روزانہ مجلس رضا کا سلسلہ جاری ہے. مجلس آج 13 محرم سے 20 محرم تک جناب نبیل اوان صاحب انگلش میں یوتھ سے اور ہماری مجلسوں سے خطاب فرمائیں گے. آپ سے گزارش ہے کہ آپ خود بھی تشریف لائیں اور یوتھ کو بھی. ہمارے جو ممنون ہمیں آن لائن سن رہے ہیں ان سے گزارش ہے کہ یوتھ کو ضرور اس مجلس میں بھیجیں تاکہ وہ اس مجلس سے استفادہ حاصل کر سکے. 13 محرم سے 21 محرم سے 30 محرم جناب ڈاکٹر مرزا شفیق حسین شفقت صاحب مجلس میں خطاب فرمائیں گے. باب العلم کے تمام انتظامات یہ تمام مجلسیں آپ کے تعاون اور سپورٹ سے چل رہی ہیں. آپ سے گزارش ہے کہ مجلسوں میں اسپانسر کریں. محرم فنڈ میں بھی، بلڈنگ فنڈ میں، پلج فارم میں، باب العلم کی ممبرشپ جو کہ یکم محرم سے 30 سفر تک ٹائم لمیٹڈ ہے. آپ سے گزارش ہے ممبرشپ کے فارم ویب سائٹ پہ بھی ہیں. یہاں فرنٹ ڈیسک پہ لیڈیز اور جینٹس موجود ہیں. فارم جو ہے ضرور فل کریں. آپ فرض کے ساتھ ساتھ یہ بھی بتاتے چلیں کہ جو ہمارے نومنین یہ ممبرشپ ہماری لے رہے ہیں یکم محرم سے 30 سفر کے دوران انشاءاللہ 8 ربیع الاول کے بعد ان کا زیارت کا ڈرا ہوگا، اور جس بھی مومنین یا مومنات کا نام آئے گا وہ باب العلم بنی ہاشم سعودی کی طرف سے جس طرح ہر سال زیارت پہ جاتے ہیں وہ انشاءاللہ زیارت پہ ضرور جائیں گے. باب العلم کے پاس خمس کا اجازت نامہ بھی ہے، آپ اسے خمس دے کے ٹیکسیبل رسید حاصل کر سکتے ہیں. اس کے ساتھ ہی میں گزارش کروں گا جناب قبلہ مولانا نبیل اوان صاحب سے کہ آپ تشریف لائیں اور مجلس خطاب فرمائیں. آپ کی صحت اور سلامتی کے لیے بآواز بلند صلوات.
برائے خوشنودی محمد و آل محمد صلوات صلی علی محمد و آل محمد.
ما شاء الله لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي جعل الحمد مفتاحا لذكره وسببا للمزيد من فضله ودليلا على آلائه وعظمته. ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على النبي الأمي المكي المدني الهاشمي الذي سمي في السماوات بأحمد وفي الأراضين بأبي القاسم محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الهداة المهديين، سيما أولهم أمير المؤمنين وآخرهم بقية الله في الأراضين، روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء. ورحمة الله على محبيهم ومواليهم وشيعتهم أجمعين، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم وقتلتهم وغاصب حقوقهم ومنكري فضائلهم ملعونين. أما بعد, for the happiness of Hazrat Zahra Marziya, for the enlightenment of the graves of Yawm Rahmeen, of the graves of the Shuhada, Ulama and Siddiqeen, for the safety of the followers of Ahlul Bayt around the world, and for the safety and the hastening of the reappearance of Hazrat Baqiyatullah al-A'zam Arwahun al-Fida, please recite your loudest salawat. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the sake of our gathering, for the sake of the azah that we have performed thus far and the azah that we will perform until the 7th of Rabi'. Ya Allah, forgive our sins. Forgive the sins of our parents. Ya Allah, those of our parents that are alive, give them long lives. Those of our parents that have left this world, give them a place next to Ali Muhammad in Jannah. Oh Allah, those who are ill, give them shifa'ah. Those who are in debt, clear their debts. Oh Allah, keep safe the Shia of Ali Muhammad around the world. Ya Allah, give victory and safety to the people of Palestine. Ya Allah, destroy the oppressors wherever in the world they may be. Ya Allah, hasten the reappearance of the Imam of our time and allow us to be amongst his true muntadhirin, his true waiters, for the acceptance of these du'as and any other du'as that you brothers and sisters have brought. Please recite another of your loudest salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. All praise you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who is Rahman and the one who is Rahim. It's an honor to be here once again. Alhamdulillah, last year was, in my eyes, quite a success. And so when I was asked to do this Ashra again, or these 7 days, again, I said yes, without thinking about it. It's a good opportunity for us to explore in this sort of wind down phase things that are slightly outside of the box. And now I don't know how many people remember my topic from last year. That would be the question, right? To see how much information you've retained from last year. Dua Makarim al-Akhlaq of Imam al-Sajjad, we spoke about the characteristics of the Muttaqeen. Khair, in this series I want to look at something different, and that is Yawm al-Qiyamah. What it is that happens as a precursor to the Day of Judgment. So we classify the signs of the Day of Judgment in 3 categories. Those that indicate the day is coming closer, 2, those signs that happen as the day begins, and the 3, the specific things that happen on the day And then finally the matter of the shifa'ah of Ahlul Bayt. And the day itself is equivalent to, as we will explore in this lecture, 50,000 years, the Holy Quran says. And within it there are different maqam, different stations. The Sirat itself is 7,000 years long to cross over Pul Sirat. And so we'll, in this series, look at all of that. What is it that inspired me to choose this series? It's two things. One, there are constant references to Yawm al-Qiyamah in the whole story of Karbala. For example, you see Wahab Kalbi, when Wahab, the man who is just a Muslim for 12 days, so he's 17 days a new damad, he's just got married by the day of Ashura, and by the day of Ashura he's only 12 days a Muslim, his mother and his wife. When he's going out to the battlefield, he goes to visit his wife, and his wife says, Wahab, I won't stop you, I'll let you go, but just do one thing, come with me to Abi Abdullah, I want him to be a guarantor for something. And so when she comes, she says to Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, I want you to be the guarantor for two things. The first thing is that after Wahab has gone out and has been killed, that you allow me to stay with the women of Ahlul Bayt as a servant or as a slave. And the second is that you guarantee that Wahab will not enter into Jannah without me by his side, and that I enter into Jannah with him. Abu Abdullah al-Hussein answers the second question, and there is a maslihah as to why he doesn't guarantee the first question, because when Wahab is killed, she runs out into the battlefield, they throw his head to his mother, she throws the head, tries to run out, and Imam al-Hussein says to her, no, return back to the Khayyam. In this period, Wahab's wife runs out to the body of Wahab, and there she's, Wahab, Ubashiruka bil Jannah, glad tidings to you for Jannah, and someone hearing this comes behind her and he hits her on the head and kills her. She's the only woman that is shaheed on the day of Ashura in Karbala. And so there's that reference. The other reference is with Abu Abdullah, for example, when Habib is writing out, says when Abu Sha'fa asks Imam al-Hussein that it's the time of Salah of Dhuhr, can we please pray behind you one last Salah? And Imam says to him that may the mercy of God be upon you, Abu Sha'fa. You remembered Zakartu Salah, Ja'alakallahu min al-Musallin, that you remembered Salah. At this time, may Allah make you amongst those that He classifies as the Musallin. And at that point, a man calls out and he says, Hussein, what do you think you're praying for? Your Salah is not accepted. And then at this point, Habib ibn Mudahir, he pulls out his sword and he addresses them and he says, oh donkey, you think your salah will be accepted and the salah of Hussein alayhi salam won't be accepted? And so he runs out and he turns to Imam al-Hussein and says, Ya ibn Rasulillah, this salah I pray with your grandfather in Jannah. And then he goes out. So there's this reference. The next reference, and there are many, but I'm choosing some major ones that were quite influential on me choosing this topic. The next one is when Abi Abdullah falls from the horse to the earth of Karbala. According to the Maqatil, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, he lies on the earth of Karbala for about 2 to 3 hours. Nobody goes near him. He doesn't have the strength to stand, and nobody has the courage to go and kill him. And so this 2 to 3 hours, we have certain a'mal that you can do to view the day of Ashura, but you only reach this point when Imam al-Hussein falls, because they say that nobody has the power or the strength to be able to view these 3 or 4 hours where Imam al-Hussein lie upon the earth, unable to move, unable to do anything, and no one would go near him. And these 2-3 hours that preceded the time of Asr, because remember, Asr in that time zone is a lot later. It's not like where we are in the Western hemisphere, where we're almost the Dhuhr and Asr are very near to each other. There's a time. So Imam al-Hussein is on the ground. They say that, there's no movement from the Imam, he's not doing anything. And they say maybe he's died. And according to the Maqatil, at that point, either Shimar or someone they call out. They say, I'll tell you how to know if Hussein alayhi salam is alive or not. He says, attack the tents. So he shouts out, he says, attack the tents. And at that moment, the body of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam begins to move. And this is what Imam Zaman mentions in Nahiya, in Ziyarat Nahiya. He says, تُدِيرُ طَرْفًا خَفِيًّا إِلَى رَحْلِكَ وَبَيْتِكَ. That you were on the ground, not moving, but تُدِيرُ طَرْفًا خَفِيًّا إِلَى رَحْلِكَ وَبَيْتِكَ. From the corner of your eyes were fixed on your ayal, on your women and your Zainab and Kulthum. That's where your attention was. And so when they do this, they say Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, his body began to move. He reached out and he grabbed hold of a broken spear and he lifted himself to his knees and he addressed them. He said, if you have no deen, وَلَا تَخَافُونَ الْمَعَادِ, and you don't fear the day of judgment, كُونُوا أَحْرَارًا فِي دُنْيَاكُمْ, at least be free men in this world. Don't attack my women while I'm still alive. So this reference. The third reference is from, because this is Ashra Sajjadiyah, it is from Dua Abu Hamza Thumali of Imam Sajjad, where the Imam in a portion he says, فَمَالِ لَا أَبْكِي, for what reason should I not cry? أبكي لخروج نفسي، أبكي لظلمة قبري، أبكي لسؤال منكر ونكير إياي، أبكي لخروج من قبري أريانا ذليلا حاملا ثقلي على الظهر، انظر مرة عن يميني وأخرى عن شمالي، إذ الخلائق شأن غير شأني. Says that for what reason should I not cry? I cry for when my soul will be taken from my body. I cry for the darkness of my grave. I cry for the narrowness of my grave. I cry for when Munkar and Nakir will come and question me. I cry for when I will be taken out from my grave, naked, humiliated, carrying upon my back the burden of my sins. I will look left and I will look right, and no one will be concerned with me on that day. لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مِّنْهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ شَأْنٌ يُغْنِيهِ. On that day nobody will care what I have to, what my problems are. Everyone will be worried about themselves. So in this whole saga of Karbala, there is this constant mention to this day of judgment. And so this is why I've chosen this topic. And we will look at the various aspects of the day of judgment. But in this, and then from tomorrow we'll begin to look at the signs, the first signs, those first set of signs, the Raja'at of Ahlul Bayt, Dukhan al-Mubin, the release of Ya'juj and Ma'juj as being the three major signs for the day of judgment is coming near, and then the other things that happen as the day of judgment begins to unfold. But that realm as a whole, the moment you leave this plane, this physical realm, and you enter into that semi-material realm of the Akhirah, it's a realm of heightened perception. Every single sense of yours is heightened, because what we have here is a number of hijab between us and the reality. So the fire we have in this dunya, according to the riwayat, this fire has been cooled 70 times from the akhirah until it has entered into this world. Cooled with water, metaphysical water, till it reaches the state that it is in this world as this fire. But in the akhirah it is 70 times hotter than what this fire of this dunya is. So that is a realm where everything, all of the things that dull our sensations here, all of those blocks are removed, and it becomes a day of extrasensory perception. The moment you see Malakul Maut and your soul is separated from your body, your soul is not in your body is in your soul. So when that is removed, now all of those things that were in between you and reality are all moved. And this is what the Quran says, لَقَدْ كُنْتُ فِي غَفْلَةٍ مِّنْ هَذَا وَكَشَفْنَا عَنْكَ غِطَاءَكَ فَبَصُرُكَ يَوْمَ حَدِيدٍ. Says that this is that thing that you were ghafil about, that you were inattentive about. لَقَدْ كُنْتُ فِي غَفْلَةٍ مِّنْ هَذَا. You were inattentive about this. وَكَشَفْنَا عَنْكَ غِطَاءَكَ. And so now we have removed all of your curtains. فَبَصُرَكَ يَوْمَ حَدِيدٍ. Says on this day, now your sight is sharp. You see reality for what reality is. So it's a realm where one truly understands everything. And in this, as an introduction to the topic, we're going to look at a number of things. One, the various names and the classifications of the names of Yawm al-Qiyamah, of the Day of Judgment. Those individuals who denied this day and how the Quran replied to them, and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replied to them. The Prophet who questioned this day and the possibility of this day. And then at the end we'll discuss a little bit about the length of the Day of Judgment. When you want to look at the name Qiyamah, or that day, in the Holy Quran, 1/5 of the ayat of the Holy Quran deal with the Day of Judgment. They speak about the Day of Judgment in a number of various ways, and it has many different names. Ajam Karim Shirazi, he has a book called Payam Quran, and in that he brings 70 different names of the Quran, of Day of Judgment that Allah has mentioned. And Mullah Faid Kashani Marhum, in his book Mahajjat al-Bayda, he lists over 100 names for Yawm al-Qiyamah. And those names can be categorized into two main categories. One are those names that talk about the essence of that day. So for example, the Day of Judgment. This is a day where you will be judged. It is the day of resurrection. It's a day where you will be resurrected. Or Yawm al-Qiyamah itself. Qiyamah comes from Qiyam, to stand. For on this day, people will be made to stand. Or Yawm al-Hashr, the day of gathering. Because everything in existence from start to end will all be made to gather there. Or Yawm al-Ma'ad, the place of return, where everyone will come to a singular place and all be gathered there. So that's the first batch. The second batch of names are those that possess the characteristics that will be found on the Day of Judgment. So for example, Yawm al-Haq, it's the day where truth will prevail and everyone will know and understand truth. Or Yawm al-Taghabun, the day of deception. Not that people will be being deceived, but people will say at that point, how I was deceived, how my nafs deceived me, how my friends deceived me, how my community, Ya laytani lam attakhidh fulanan khalila, how I wish I hadn't taken this person to be my friend, because of him now I'm going into hell. So it's the day of deception. They'll say, Shaitan was the one that was misguiding us, he took us away. But Shaitan will turn around and say, no, nothing to do with me. The whole Quran says, مثل الشيطان قال للإنسان اكفر. Says the example of Shaitan is that he says to man, do kufr, disbelief. فلما كفر, and so they disbelieve. But then when he gets to Yawm al-Qiyamah, قال إني بريء منكني يخاف الله رب العالمين. Says, I seek distance from these people. I fear the Lord of the worlds. I want nothing to do with them. I didn't make them do it. They chose to do it themselves. I just يوسوس في صدور الناس. I just gave them the idea. They followed through with it. And so the deception that he gives in the dunya, he'll again pull another one on the Day of Judgment and say, I didn't make them do it. They chose to do it. They chose to act in that particular way. So that's the names. And many people have denied the Day of Judgment in various ways or forms, that this day will not happen or whatever. In Surah Yasin, in verse number 78, we have an example of someone. It says, وَضَرَبَ لَنَا مَثَلًا وَنَسِيَ خَلْقًا قَالَ مَنْ يُحْيِي الْعِظَامَ وَهِيَ رَمِيمٌ. Says that there's a person that comes forward and he strikes out a likeness for us and forgets his own creation. And then the man says, this individual says, who will give life to rotten bones when they have turned to powder? And this is about Walid ibn Mughira. He goes to a graveyard, he sees some bones that have come out from the graves. You know, the wild animals have dug the graves and there's a bone. And so he picks up the bone and he crushes it in his hand, and the bone becomes powder. And then he blows the powder away. And so then he says that, so who will raise this? How is it possible that he says that God will raise all of these people from their bones when this bone has just become dust? And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replies to this doubter in the Holy Quran in verse number 79. Well, say to him, يُحْيِيهَا الَّذِي أَنْشَاءَهَا أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ. Says the one who will bring it back to life is the one who gave it life in the first place. This is the one that gave it life in the first place. The one that made it in the first place will be the one that will bring it back. As simple as that. The one that had the power to create, has the power to kill and destroy, has the power to bring back everything. But this matter has confused many people, theologians and even prophets of God at times. For example, in the Holy Quran, you find in Surah Al-Baqarah that a story is being told to us from verse 259. It says, أَوْ كَالَّذِي مَرَّ عَلَىٰ قَرْيَةٍ وَهِيَ خَاوِيَةٌ عَلَىٰ أُرُوشِهَا قَالَ أَنَّ يُحْيِي هَذِهِ اللَّهُ بَعْدَ مَوْتِهَا. Says, and one day, the like of him, this is in reference to Hazrat Uzair, says he comes across a town where the roofs have fallen on top of the people and it is all destroyed. Nothing is alive. It's just bodies are scattered, skeletons. Everything is just lying there. And he says that, will Allah give life to all of these all over again? In almost a sense of disbelief. As a slight segue, the place that Uzair alayhi salam comes across is actually the site of a murder by a king many years prior to the prophethood and the birth of Uzair alayhi salam. In 630 BC, a king by the name of Nebuchadnezzar had this ardent hatred for the Jews of that area. Reason being, it was they who had killed Yahya Nabi and presented his head to one of the prostitutes of the time. And so the result of the killing of Yahya alayhi salam was this, that the earth where the head of Yahya alayhi salam was placed kept on erupting with blood. And so over years they kept putting mud over it until it was a huge mountain. But it wouldn't stop. So Nebuchadnezzar says, this won't stop until I kill those who killed Yahya. So he goes and he massacres this whole tribe mercilessly. He goes and he massacres all of them, and he kills all of them and leaves their bodies out in the open. Decades or centuries later, Uzair alayhi salam comes across this place. And this is what he sees in front of him. Town has been destroyed, bodies are lying everywhere, all their skeletons, their remains are there. And so he says, is it possible that God will raise all of these people? So thought he has. So what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do? فَأَمَاتَهُ اللَّهُ. So Allah kills him. Kills Uzair alayhi salam. For question. Says, is it possible? Allah kills him. For how long? 100 عام. 100 years. Uzair alayhi salam dies. ثم بعثه. Then we raised him again. قال كم لبثت. And we said to him, how long did you tarry? How long did you sleep? How long did you die for? He says, لبثت يوما أو بعض يوم. Says, I died for a day maybe part of a day. I slept for a day, a part of a day. قال لبثت يوما أو بعض يوم. He says, I slept for a day, maybe a part of a day. قال بل لبثت 100 عام. Says, you died for 100 years. But Uzair, note one thing. Says, فانظر إلى طعامك وشرابك لم يتسنى. Says, you died for 100 years, but the packed lunch, the food that you brought with you, nothing has happened to it. We kept it. وانظر إلى حمارك. But now look towards your donkey. It's become bones. There's nothing. Both of these things came with you at the same time. We killed you for 100 years, preserved your food as if it was the day that you had bought it, and killed your donkey and decomposed it, and there's nothing left of it. And says, and this is our ayah for you. This is our sign. This is the power that we possess. And then in front of the eyes of Uzair alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala begins to bring back all of the particles of the donkey. The bones come back together. The skeleton is once again formed. The muscles grow around the skeleton. All of the nerves, everything. Uzair alayhi salam witnesses this all happening in real time in front of him. The skin comes back, and before he knows it, there stands his donkey braying and doing whatever it was doing before he had died. And so Uzair alayhi salam, he turns around and he says that I now profess this fact that Allah truly has power over all things. So when we talk about Yawm al-Qiyamah, when we talk about the day of judgment, we're talking about all of existence is coming back. And this idea has baffled and boggled many people for centuries. That how is it possible that Allah will bring back all of existence from the start of Adam alayhi salam, our Adam, or even possibly the previous Adams? That's another discussion we can have about the cycles of this world and the multiverse and the metaverse and the various hadith we have that talk about this. But at least from our Adam until the end of the day of judgment, all of those individuals, and not just from the earth, no, from all of the heavens and the earths that exist. Now that's not clear whether we're here discussing parallel dimensions that run parallel to our earth, or in fact those on other planets, because that is still our universe. Then we have others. I'm just going to go off on a tangent talking about other worlds, but when we talk about, like, we're talking about everything else on all the other planets that we do not know. This is just one universe. This is just our known universe. This is just our one sama. So you know when the Holy Quran says there are 7 heavens, what you see here and what the Hubble sees and the James Webb telescope sees, all of that, that's just Sama'ul Awwal, that's our sky. There are 6 more that we don't yet know about, or we've never even seen, and their populations are greater than the populations of our sky and our earth, and all of them will be brought back. All of them will be gathered in a single place, and nothing will be heard, no sound, no talking, nothing. It will just be like the buzzing of bees as they're all breathing. And so it baffles people, it's boggled people, that how is it possible? But when it gets to that day, all bets are off. There's no such thing as the laws of physics and the laws of this, because now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, no, now I'm going to show you my total authority on this day. And that's why he calls out constantly, لَمِنِ الْمُلْكَ الْيَوْمِ, tell me, whose kingdom is it today? Tell me, all of you that walked upon this earth with such arrogance, all of you that did whatever you wanted to do upon my earth, لَمِنِ الْمُلْكَ الْيَوْمِ, tell me, whose kingdom is it today? And then he will reply himself, لِلَّهِ وَاحِدَ الْقَهَّارِ, it is none, it is no one's kingdom but the one of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is al-wahid and who is al-qahhar. Recite the salawat, please.
Nare Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Nare Risalat.
Ya Rasulullah.
Nare Haidari.
Ya Ali.
Haidari.
Ya Ali.
Baraye Khushnudi Muhammad wa Ale Muhammad salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So it's the total authority of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that will be manifest on that day. There is no chu, no chira, there is no questioning, there is nothing there at that point. At that point, it is just what God wants to happen. That is what will happen. No one will have a say in anything. And so all of the laws of physics and everything are out the window, including the length of that day. The Holy Quran in Surah Al-Ma'arij, verse number 4, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, تَعْرُجُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَالرُّوحِ إِلَيْهِ فِي يَوْمٍ كَانَ مِقْدَارُهُ 50,000 سَنَةٍ. Says that the Malaika and Ruh al-Qudus will ascend to him on that day, a day which is 50,000 years long. 50,000 years. That's one day. And for some, they will experience the full 50,000 years. And when we come in the later nights to speak about the specifics of that day, we will talk about how certain people go through that day, certain believers will pass through that day. As quick as it took them to recite 2 rakat namaz in the dunya, they finished those 50,000 years. But for some, the whole 50,000 will be drawn out, and 7,000 of them will be spent on the sirat, and however many thousands in questioning. In fact, some people will, when they come out from their graves, and we'll speak about this again on the day when we get to the specifics of the day, but certain groups of people will be forced to have one leg outside of the grave, one leg inside of the grave, and they won't be allowed to walk or move or like that. Just with one leg raised, one leg inside, they'll be forced to stand there for 300 years in this way. None will be able to move. Every person will come out with an angel behind them and an angel in front of them. They won't be able to do anything of their own choice. So that is the day, Yawm al-Taghabun, where people will have deceived themselves. All of these years in this world, spending, forgetting about the day of judgment, forgetting about the reality of that day. When that day comes, they'll say, surely I deceived myself about this. Surely this is the day that I was inattentive towards. This is that day that I was not focused on, and I was ghafil of it. And so I deceived myself of its reality. And many will enter into it not ready at all in any way, shape or form. And so this is where you see that where the Holy Quran says, and we'll talk about it tomorrow, or sorry, the day after, where it says that they will come shakhisatu absar. It will be as if their eyes will be so wide, it will be like their eyeballs are popping out of their skulls because of what they see. Men will be walking around like they are drunk. But the Holy Quran says, وَمَا هُمْ بِالسُّكَارَى. But they're not drunk. It is because they're seeing the adhab of Allah unfold in front of them, and they can't walk straight, they can't think straight. They've just been raised from the grave. Some will be in Jannah, some will be given adhab, some will be in between. They were just sleeping the whole time. And even they have two classifications. Those that were sleeping so that they could receive their adhab at its most extreme, or those that were sleeping so that they could receive the Jannah that they were promised, rather than being given a precursor to it in the barzakh, but to be given the highest realm of Jannah. So there are many things that they're there to discuss, and then we'll end at the most important thing, and the thing that we all live for, and that is the idea of the shifa'ah of Ahl al-Bayt alayhi wasalam. We hear about it, the shifa'ah of Imam al-Hussein, Allahumma rzuqni shifa'at al-Hussein yawm al-wurud. But what does that actually mean? What does it mean to have the shafa'ah, have the Rasulullah as your shafi', have Amirul Mu'mineen as your shafi'? What will they be doing on that day? And so inshallah that we will discuss as well. And so it's important that we know that that day is coming and we take account for ourselves. Imam as-Sadiq salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhi, he says, take account of yourself before you are accounted for. Hasibu qabla an tuhasib. Says take account of yourself before someone takes account for you. There are 50 stations on that day, and each station is 1,000 years long. You imagine having to go through, and there will be questions around wajib acts and haram acts. The wajibat you did or you didn't do, the haram that you did or didn't do. Like I said, different time frames for different people. It will all be relative. That who goes through it fast, who goes through it slowly. Some will go as fast as galloping horses, others as fast as the wind. Some will go as fast as light itself. Others will be made to crawl through it, walk through it, slither on their bellies through it. All of these are the varying speeds that someone passes through the day of judgment and across the sirat. And inshallah in the coming nights we'll look stage by stage at the characteristics of the day of judgment, the signs prior to it, the signs at the beginning of it, the particulars of the day, the shifa of Ahlul Bayt alayhimu salam, as well as the detailed azab that the Holy Prophet has spoke about for certain groups of individuals and how they will be brought in. Why certain people will be brought in as pigs, why others will be brought in as dogs, why are there certain women that are being hung by their hair and set on fire, why are certain men being placed in boxes of fire, why is it that there are certain individuals that Jannah itself is waiting for them and Allah is burning mountains of amber and musk to welcome them into Jannah. Inshallah in the coming nights we'll look at all of those. But one of the things that we know, and as I said, that the one thing that we constantly, where we started from, that made us think of this discussion, is the constant reminders in the whole saga of Karbala. Because the atrocities that took place on the day of Ashura and the days that followed the death of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, the human mind cannot comprehend, cannot accept that there is no judgment day for these individuals, for these atrocities that occurred. From the moment that Abu Abdullah's head was separated from his torso and all of the earth of Karbala began shaking, at that point, this is where the true extent of the heinous characteristics of these individuals became known. When they began to loot the tents of Ali, the daughters of Ali and Batul, and you hear they would go and they would loot, one of the things that we don't often hear about is how many children were killed in that looting. Many children. In the Maqatil it speaks about a young boy. Says there was a man who was riding towards the tents to loot. Says a young boy came out. He saw that this rider was trying to loot Sayyidah Zainab and some other ladies. So this young boy, 6 years old, he comes running to defend his aunts and his mother, and in his hand he picks up a dried piece of wood and he comes towards that rider. The rider looks towards him, he draws his sword and he strikes the young boy. He cuts the boy in half. Says, and the mother is standing there, she's watching her son having been cut in half, and the Maqtal says this boy was from the family of Aqil, from the family of Aqil. Then there is another young girl that you hear about in Karbala, not Sakina but Hamida, the daughter of Muslim ibn Aqil, that girl that Abu Abdullah placed on his lap and passed his hand over her head, and she said, Father, uncle, you're acting towards me like you act towards orphans. And he said, from now on, I am your father. Call me father, and my daughters are your sisters from this day forth. Do you know what happened to that Hamida? The Maqtal says, as her mother Ruqayya was being looted by one mal'oon, this young girl was hiding behind her mother out of fear. She's only 3 or 4 years old. She's hiding out of fear. This mal'oon, he sees a ring she's wearing on her finger, and he says to the girl, give me that ring. She became afraid. She pulled her hand away. He tries to grab hold of her, but she runs away. He mounts upon his horse and he begins to chase her. As she's running, she falls over and falls to the ground. He's riding behind on a horse, unable to stop. He crushes the body of Hamida, the daughter of Muslim, and kills her there on the day of Ashra. Like this, so many children were killed on Sham Ghariban, and when the tents were being looted, you hear that Khuli was the one that was tasked to take the head of Imam al-Hussein back to Kufa. That very same day, after the head of Imam al-Hussein was caught, they looted the tents, and Khuli headed back towards Kufa to give the head of Imam al-Hussein to Ibn Ziyad. But by the time he reached the palace, it was night. The doors were closed. So Khuli comes home. He places the head of Imam al-Hussein in the tandoor of his house, and he goes and he lies down in bed. His wife turns to him and says, Khuli, where were you all of this time? Have you been gone for so many days? He says, it doesn't matter, I'm tired. I'll tell you at another point. He turns over, he goes to sleep. A short while later, she wakes him up with tears in her eyes, says, Khuli, tell me, where is it that you went? What is it that you did? He says, what is it to you? She says, Khuli, tell me, why is it every time I close my eyes, I see Fatima al-Zahra in front of me, and she's crying and saying, what did your Khuli do to my Hussein? And why did your Khuli steal what he stole from us? Khuli, what did you do? He says, we were in Karbala, we killed Hussein, and I brought his head home. His head is in the tandoor of the house. She says to him, Khuli, what did you steal from Ali Muhammad that Zahra is speaking about? He says, look under my pillow. Do you see what is under there? She puts her hand under his pillow. She pulls out 2 small earrings. Says, Khuli, where did you get these earrings from? Says, when I was looting the tents, I saw the young daughter of Hussein come out of the tents. I saw she had 2 earrings in her ears. I wanted them for our daughter. I told the girl, remove the earrings, give them to me. She tried to remove them, but she was afraid. Her hands were shaking. I was impatient. I stepped forward. She couldn't remove them, so I ripped them from the ears of Sakina. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون ماتم يا حسين
Yasin Labbaik ya Hussein Labbaik ya Hussein Labbaik ya Hussein Hussein is my leader, Hussein is my teacher. Let's all say together, Ya Hussein. Hussein is my leader, Hussein is my teacher. Let's all say together, Ya Hussein. Hussein is my leader, Hussein is teacher. Let's all say together, Ya Hussein. Simply, Hussein is my leader, Hussein is my teacher. Let's all say together, Ya Hussein. Hussein is my leader. Together. It was the day of Ashra upon the land of Karbala. Imam Hussein was all alone. He was struck by arrows and stones. The angels in the skies with tears in their eyes, they all lit up the skies. Ya Hussein. Hussein is my leader, Hussein is my teacher. Hussein is my leader, Hussein is my teacher. Shimmer was sitting on the chest with only one thought in his head. As he lay on the burning plains, he wanted to just cause you pain. As he laid on the ground without making a sound, Zainab cried for my mind, Ya Hussein. Hussein is my leader, Hussein is my teacher. Let's all say together, Hussein is my leader, Hussein is my teacher. Let's all say together, Hussein. We want to come and visit you, to hold your side and cry to you. We know that you are our friend, your love and help us till the end. You are our supporter, we are all your lovers. We will never waver, Ya Hussein. Hussein is my leader, Hussein is my teacher. Let's all say together, Ya Hussein. Hussein is my leader, Hussein is my teacher. Let's all say together, Ya Hussein. We will remember Karbala, the cries of Lady Fatima. This is the aim of our lives until the day that we will die. There is no love greater made by our Creator. No path that is straighter, Ya Hussein. Hussein is my leader, Hussein is my teacher. Let's all say together, Ya Hussein. Hussein is my leader, Hussein is my teacher. Let's all say together, Ya Hussein. Millions for two of Karbala, from the lands I found afar. You are the center of the world, our final treasures, you're the pearl. All the youth and elders standing out together, we will chant forever, Ya Hussein. Hussein is my leader, Hussein is my teacher. Let's all say together, Ya Hussein. Hussein is my leader, Hussein is my teacher. Let's say together, Ya Hussein.
السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله، السلام عليك وعلى جديك وأبيك، السلام عليك وعلى أمك وأخيك، السلام عليك وعلى الأئمة المعصومين من بنيك. السلام عليك يا صاحب دمج الصاكبة السلام عليك يا صاحب المصيبة راتبة لقد أصبح كتاب الله فيك محجورا ورسول الله فيك معطورا السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين السلام عليك أيها العبد الصالح المتين الله ولرسوله أشهد أنك قد جاءت ونصبت وصبرت أعطاك اليقين وأن الله الظالمين لكم من الأولين والآخرين ولحقهم بذلك الجحيم السلام عليك يا قريب الغرباء السلام عليك يا معين الضعفاء والفقراء السلام عليك يا شمس الشموس السلام عليك يا أنيس النفوس السلام عليك أيها المدفون بالزطوس السلام عليك يا مغيث الشهد والزوار في يوم الجزاء السلام عليك يا سلطان الأرض والعجم السلام عليك يا أبو الحسن علي بن موسى رضا ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام عليك يا صاحب العصر والزمان السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان السلام عليك يا مزر الإيمان السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن السلام عليك يا إمام زماننا هذا أجل الله تعالى فرجك وأسأل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم كن وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه وزك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. محمد وآل محمد صلوات.